Showing you guys how to use Adobe Acrobat Reader to relay changes to your designer. This is going to be especially useful for you project managers, marketers, or small business people who have brochures or maybe catalogs or anything that's text heavy, that's a PDF proof, maps, things like that. You can usually get away with compiling a big giant email and writing everyone's changes down, but that's a lot to do and takes a lot of time to do it well and clearly. The other thing people do sometimes is maybe just write directly onto the proof and then scan it back and send it in. That can work okay, but sometimes if you have really bad handwriting, it can be hard to read. I think this method is much faster and much easier and clearer for you and your team and your design team that you're working with. So let's get started. So here we go. We have our Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is free again, that I just downloaded from the internet. And I'm going to open up this map that I've been working on. So it's 2 pages. There's the map on one side, some text on this side. I'm going to show you first how to do some text edits. So say you got all this feedback from the team, or you can actually just have each person do their own feedback. So you could take this document, do your feedback, changes, save, give it to the next person. They can do their edits. They can see what your edits are, change, save. And then you can give it to your designer, and it's really easy for them. They don't have to decipher any messy handwriting or long paragraphs, and you don't have to write a bunch of paragraphs and compilations of all the changes that you have. So let's see how we do this. Alright, so you'll see over here there's tools. You're going to click on tools, and you want the one that says comments. You're going to tell it to open comments. Now you'll notice when we do that, we get this bar across the top, and it has a bunch of editing tools. I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm going to go into the ones that I think that most of my clients would use. So some of my clients use this already, and sometimes you can do just a comment note. It's like a sticky note. The sticky note is good for, let's say, like kind of a mass change, or maybe an overall thing, like overall change, backgrounds, to black. I mean, obviously we're not going to do that, but that would be the type of change. So comments are maybe more of a general type of thing. And to delete them, you just hit Control and then delete. And then comments, sometimes I see people using them like this, which is probably not the best. So let's say we're in our text, and oops, say we're in our text, and we have, you want to make a text change. Sometimes people will say, let's take this paragraph over here, the boating, and say you wanted it to be this glacier-fed lake right here, this text. And say you want to remove glacier-fed. So sometimes I see people doing this, where they click here, and then they'll say, remove glacier-fed, and use that. And that works okay, but it's not ideal, especially if you have a lot of changes or you're working on a multi-page document. Because what happens is, as a designer, I'm going to come in here, and this comment stays the same size, and I have to kind of zoom in, and I can probably figure out what you want. But it's not as easy for me to tell. I have to be like, glacier fed, remove glacier fed, where's glacier fed? Oh, it's underneath here. And sometimes, or if it said add pristine or something, then I'd be like, well, where am I adding it? Am I adding it down here where it says towards the pristine tab, the rustic? Am I adding it there? Or am I adding it up here? It's not very clear. So let's delete that. Oh, one other thing is, what's cool is if you see over here on the right, it shows you who the author is, so you can tell who made the changes. So if different users are signed into their account or different computers, you'll be able to see who made those exact changes, and you can go ask them about it if you need to. So let's remove this, delete. The better way to make this change, let's say you want to completely take it out. You can highlight it, Glacier Fed, and then go up here, just strike through. Strike through takes it out. So now I would interpret this as this lake. And when I zoom out, it's small, and you might think like, oh, well, how will you see it as a designer if it's so small? I'm going to be looking over here on my comments. So once I get a bunch of comments over here, it's going to be a big list, and I'm going to be going through them like this. I'm going to be clicking this, it highlights it for me, I see what it is, I can make it in my design program, and then I'm going to check it off as done. So that is a better way of doing it than just adding comments on the whole thing. So let's say now that you wanted to change Glacier Fed to pristine. You can highlight it, and you can use this one with this little bubble. So add a note to replace the text. And I'm going to say, this pristine lake. And now you don't have to write change, you don't have to write it all out. You know, change Glacier Fed to pristine, or change this Glacier Fed lake to this pristine lake. It's much more easier for you. And then you can have, what's cool too is, so say I want this one to change, but I want this out, so I don't want it to say rustic. When I'm over here, it tells me exactly what I'm doing. Right here it says replace text, right here it says strike through text. So when your designer looks at this, they'll know exactly what you mean. Say you want to insert a whole word or maybe another sentence. You could click where you want to insert, and then that's what this tool is for right here. Insert text and cursor. Click here, and let's say we want to say our private and lovely blah 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 blah, and then here. And then when you post that, and again, you don't have to worry about your designer not seeing it if that makes you nervous, like, oh, they're not going to see it, because they should be over here looking, and they can see, oh, this is inserted text, this one strike through, this one is replacing it. Anyway, so it is very cool and easy, and again, you don't have to worry about your handwriting, and it's much better, again, than using this comment tool, because otherwise then this sticky note tool, because then we just get sticky notes all over the place. And I just want to show you how that can be really hard to read once you get a bunch of them going. Plus, it's not very fast for you. So you can see as a designer, it's much harder for me to figure out what you're talking about. Because I have to go in, and then I have to zoom in to see what's going on, and then maybe it's not on the right spot, but this is much more exact and much easier. Alright, so let's go to another awesome thing about this tool, but let's see what it does for like a map page. This is when I really think this tool comes in handy in this way of communicating, because maps can be very confusing. You know, when you go to type out and you're going to say, hey, move the purple dot by the lakes on Route 188 over to 238. That's a lot to try and say, and it doesn't really work out very well. Like, I might put it up here, I might put it down here, and then you have to tell me, no, you need it up a little higher. The easiest way to do this is you have these drawing tools. So you can make an arrow. You can start here, you can click, and say you want it right here, and then drag it over there. That shows me, take this dot and move it there. It's so easy, and it comes up too as an arrow. And if you feel like it needs further explanation, you can always add like a little toolbox, or like a little comment box. And so you could say, move and make green, for instance. And you can make this smaller if you think it's too big. There. And now your designer knows exactly what you want done with it. Let's say you want to do something. Oh, and you can after you make the edit, you can also, move it around if you want. Move the box. There's another one in here. Let's see where it is. Oh, the text callout one. And that you can click and drag and then maybe say change to green. So this tool is pretty awesome for that. Again, a comment is more of an overall thing. So say I wanted all the fish bigger. I could make this, click on here and say make all fish twice their current size. Let's see, what else would you do for a map? Maps are usually just because you're moving things around a lot and it makes it a little hard. Let's say you want to add a circle, another winery circle. You could click on this, and if you wanted to add some here, you could just draw some of your own, and then the designer, and then you could either add a box explaining it, or the designer's probably going to get it. Or if you wanted to, you could add, one of these again and say, and draw an arrow, add dots. Or you could make a comment here because it could be big enough to add dots if you want. And I think that is probably enough to get you going. Again, there's so much you could do with this, so let me know. Oh, another thing is, say you wanted this road to extend, there's a line tool in here too. So you could fully, draw, and then again add a little note saying, make road longer. So much more helpful for maps than anything else. And there's lots of other, I'm not sure when you would really use this, but you can add little clouds and things like that. Who knows? Depends on, I guess, what design you have going on and what you want to get across to your designer. Alright, I think that is it. If you have any questions, let me know, and hopefully this is helpful for you. Oh, and so just remember to save. I should say that. So all you have to do is Command F, or go up here, save as. You could save as, and I would recommend adding your initials to the end of the file, or maybe saying edits JH, my initials, or just your initials, changes, something to let them know that, hey, this is the PDF that has changes, and then save it and send it. And when they open it up, like I said, they'll have this easy to read comment. They can click on everything, check it off as they go through, and it will make your designer love you. And it'll make your job easier. Okay, I think that's all, and hopefully this helps. Bye. Hey, this is Jaylene from La Sirena Design. I just made a 10-15 minute video